Welcome to Dark Knight Films Reviews and another Hammer Productions night. Tonight, I will be reviewing Taste the Blood of Dracula, released in 1970. Taste the Blood of Dracula stars Christopher Lee, Anthony Corlan, Linda Hayden, Geoffrey Keane, Ralph Bates, Peter Sallis, John Carson, Isla Blair, Martin Jarvis, Gwen Watford, Roy Kinnear, and Michael Ripper. Taste the Blood of Dracula was directed by Peter Sasdy. The script for this one was written by Anthony Hines. Now, I've always enjoyed the scripts written by Anthony Hines for Hammer films. And this one's no different. I mean, it is a well-written script. This one was originally written as a standalone film that didn't have Dracula in it because Christopher Lee had grown tired of playing Count Dracula and was not really interested in returning to play the character. So this one was written originally to have Ralph Bates' character of Lord Courtly be the replacement character for Count Dracula. And Ralph Bates' character is great in this. Unlike my first foray into seeing him play a role, which was Lust for a Vampire, which his performance was questionable and bad, this is a great performance. He does an excellent job in this film. This was one of those films that I was talking about whenever I did my review of Lust for a Vampire, where I said, wow, this guy can act. He is really good as Lord Courtly in here. It is kind of unfortunate that Christopher Lee did decide, yes, I do want to come back. Because I would have loved to have seen what this film would have been like had once Lord Courtly was killed by the characters of Geoffrey Keen's William Hargood, Peter Sallis' Samuel Paxton, and John Carson's Jonathan Secker, that he would have been able to come back and get his revenge on them himself. But as it is, he dominates the opening parts of this movie. Lord Courtly does, and is excellent. And then you get Count Dracula coming in and getting revenge for Courtly. I like that premise. It's a unique Dracula film. But on the flip side, I do not think this is one of Christopher Lee's best performances as Count Dracula. It's serviceable. It's not his worst, but it's not his best either. Certainly not up to the standards of the previous films in this series. But his performance not being the strongest does not hurt the film as it works, because he is the master manipulator who is taking control of Linda Hayden's Alice Hargood and Isla Baker's Lucy Paxton, and manipulating them into helping him to get revenge for Lord Courtly, which it's a cool little revenge film, the way that film is executed. But I almost wish, like I said, that they would have not got Christopher Lee back. And that's odd for me to say that because, I'm a huge fan of Christopher Lee. But I would love to see taste the blood of Dracula without Dracula. Linda Hayden. When I first saw this film, Linda Hayden's performance as Alice Hargood, I thought she was bad. I thought her performance was over the top and god-awful. But I saw this movie when I was younger. And later on, when I watched it with fresh adult eyes, her performance really grew on me. I realized, no, she wasn't bad. It was just, I didn't know how to judge a performance. And I think she's really good in this film. It's a big change, I know, from when I was younger to now. But that's what happens sometimes when when you become an adult and you know more about acting and you know more about the performances, you know how to judge it better. But yeah, her performance is really good as Alice Hargood. I love how Christopher Lee seduces her to the dark side and manipulates her into helping him in a way. It's almost not like the regular hypnosis that we've known from the Dracula films. This is almost sort of like some of the stuff that was in The Vampire Lovers with Mercala. But I think it works better in this film than it did in The Vampire Lovers. And she eventually comes to her senses and realizes what she's done and becomes herself again, which was nice. Isla Blair's Lucy Paxton it's not so lucky. But Anthony Corlan as our hero, Alice's love interest, Paul, is very well done, well portrayed hero. Hence the reason why I just wish I could see this film as it was originally intended, with Ralph Bates being the main overarching villain, if you will. And he would have been, if it wouldn't have been Dracula coming back and doing this revenge thing for Courtly, he probably would have been more just an anti-hero coming back and getting his revenge on those who killed him, which would have been a story that is much like later stories that we see, like The Crow and stuff like that. And I love those kind of revenge films like that. Hell, I even made one myself with Mark of Death. The part that makes him more a villain, would be that he's more a Satan worshiper. So, you wouldn't be siding with him and wanting him to come out on top. So, maybe it does work better with Dracula in it, but I'd still like to have seen the version with him in there. On performances, the villains of this piece, I say villains because they were the ones that killed Courtly and caused everything to happen. Geoffrey Keane is really sleazy and horrible as William Hargood, and that's a good thing. I'm not saying he gave a bad performance. I'm saying he played the character sleazy and just horrible that you just cannot wait for him to get his just desserts. And he does. Dracula does not kill this sleazy bastard who abuses his daughter. Dracula instructs Alice to kill him. And that is just kind of like the ultimate, it's almost like, it turns, like I said, it kind of turns Dracula into more an anti-hero instead of a villain in this. But like I said, his performance is not his best, so it doesn't make him a really good heroic, per se, villain character. The other performances with Peter Sallis and John Carson, they're serviceable. They're good. They're not as good as Geoffrey Keen's William, but they're good. Last of the performances that I want to note is Michael Ripper as Inspector Cobb. He is, as usual, I mean, Michael Ripper, whatever role he plays and stuff, he's always amazing. And here he gets a inspector role where he's investigating and everything. And it was good to see him getting to play something a little bit more juicy and fun with his performance. Usually he's just playing a small little role, and then he's out of the film or something, So, the film is well directed by Peter Sasdy, and so like I said, it's well written by Anthony Hines. So I will give Taste of the Blood of Dracula from 1970. I will give this film an 8.9 out of 10. It may not be the best film for Christopher Lee's performance, but it is one of the better Dracula films for the overall story. And I really love this film. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with my review? Do you disagree? Let me know in the comments down below. What do you think of Taste the Blood of Dracula? I really want to know. So let me know. Alright, so if you enjoyed this video, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe, because it really does help this channel out a lot. But that's it for another Hammer Productions night. Hope you will join me tomorrow for another action movie night. Until then, thank you for watching.